Oh, there it is. Woo! Hey. Welcome, everyone, to House Off the Wagon, a HOTD live stream. I'm Ben. This is Bobek. It's Cinema Gulp here on the tubes. Welcome back. We took last week off because we both had other stuff going on, so we're going to double it up. Maybe a little bit shorter on 6 and dive more into 7 because, frankly, 7's a way better episode, in my opinion. But how you doing, bud?
Good. I'm stoked to be back. It's been too long. I was thinking about all this cool stuff that I had to say about episode 6 when I saw it after it'd been out for like a long time because HBO's not in Canada. What? Like, come on, So I finally, there's no Max. Like you try to get on HBO, it says not in this area. And I looked it up, like, how do I live stream Game of Thrones? There's ads everywhere in Canada. And they were like, you have to go through some app I never heard of. And I couldn't find like a free week trial for it, So I was like, there's no fucking way I'm paying for this just to watch it one day early. So, yeah, but I had a lot to say after the fact. That's why now it's going to be even better because we got 2 episodes that I agree with you about episode 6 being not as exciting as episode 7. And, if you remember, 4 was the big one. 5 was sort of everything is reacting, like plot-wise across this first season. 6 is just sort of like we're developing the plot lines, the story threads that were started up in 4 and 5 in the aftermath of 4. And 7 is when you start seeing things coming together, because 8's the season finale. So, like, come on, they got to give us something. So it's like 6 was really sort of, I don't want to say filler, but it's like not the beginning, it's the middle of the journey. And you're like, okay, got it, cool. It's, like, I want some dragons.
7 brought us right into our season finale. I can feel it,
Yeah.
But really quickly, I want to tell you what happened to our episode 5 stream. So I used a clip where I edited like an old lady granny porn, moaning or whatever over a scene with Alicent having herself pleasured. And that got YouTube to take the video not down, but it blocked it in a way where most countries can't see it. It's not a strike. It's what they call a parental advisory block, just because of that noise. So no one outside of who watched that episode live has been able to see it. It has like 10 views or 15 views. So I won't make that mistake again. I had no idea that no just sampling.
Feeding. Yeah, we got to keep it PG-13 max.
No more granny porn sound bites. I promise, everyone. I promise. I'll keep it simple.
Nothing pornographic there. Only violence. Only acceptable.
Well, let's say hello to the chat. I know I saw DJ Play Nice on there, but I don't know what happened to his comment. Maybe took it down. Buttmaster 1, welcome back, guys. Great episode to talk about. I agree. And there's our boy, Ash D. So excited. So much to discuss. Heck yeah, there is. 6, I don't know. 6 got a little crazy with Alicent, a small foe. Yeah, no, that's true. I forgot about that. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, that was really cool. That part was intense for sure. But thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Appreciate it. So let's dive into a little bit of 6. I'm gonna bring up Bobek, why don't you start us off talking about what you remember about where 6 started? And I'm going to bring up a video that's going to show some visual aids.
Well, the thing that I really, really appreciate about 6, sort of plot-wise, looking across the whole season 2, is that they're setting up the idea that not only this one family can ride a dragon. And, like they start teasing out the idea of let's look for people who have the blood, but, they married into a different family or they're illegitimate. And so that they just open that up with the coolest highborn, guy they could find that was like available to them. And he's like, my life is for you, my queen. I will take the risk. And they're like, okay, course one, that guy got roasted. And one of my favorite things, these characters, I don't know what they're called. They're the dragon keepers. They're like a religious order. Remember, the dragons are gods, and these are the people who literally believe the dragons are gods, and they are like the Pope and the cardinals of this religion, and they're the ones who are there taking care of these dragons. And the first thing that one of the first questions I had was, well, this dude who might have a little bit of the Targaryen blood in him doesn't speak High Valyrian, which is the only way to talk to the dragons. And they don't even stop to give him a language lesson. It's literally like 15 minutes from when he walks in the door to like, my love is my queen, to like, he's roasted. And
he looks dumbfounded from the beginning, though, man. When she picks him, he's like, what? Really? All right, I guess.
And he goes for it, and it looks like, and of course, the first person to try it is not going to get it, right? And it looks like he's going to walk up that wing, and him and the other dude, the one dragon keeper next to him, both get roasted in the same breath. There's two of them going down, and that dragon keeper is ready for it. He pulls out his dagger and slits his own throat. And so the priests have been trained. This is what you do. Because if you look at him, every single one of them has burn scars, and they're just covered in soot.
That guy knew, like, I'm about to be fried. He's
like, I'm out, because like and I'll bet you that for him was an honorable death. Like, he probably
look how badass that shot is, though, in the dragon when because that's sea smoke, right?
I think that's Sea Smoke.
That Sea Smoke's the one who, And you know what? I forgot. 6 is a pretty badass episode. A lot of shit happens with Sea Smoke, which is pretty cool. But really quickly, I'm so sorry, Ashty. I did not realize that you were a female. I will stop calling you dude if I've done that in the past. I don't know why I was so presumptuous, but nice. Well, welcome. Welcome anyway. You're still our homie. That's any gender.
So you get called bro. Anyway,
I'm sorry about that, but yeah. Really quickly, I forgot to do quick, brief little headlines.
Yeah, I wanted to hear that.
Yeah, my bad. I'm a little sick and my head's a little disoriented. So, all right. Rhaenyra becomes Rihanna and gives Madonna and Britney Spears a run for their money. Vhagar can't count. Aegon went from dragon rider king to the elephant man. And Alicent takes a bath fully clothed because it's 2024 Game of Thrones. So apparently dicks only. Okay.
That's pretty much spot on. Wow, dude, that's a great rundown. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.
Tells you nothing about the 2 episodes, but that's kind of I'll say that I liked we'll get into episode 6. I'm going to put up the spoiler banner so we can just get right into it. I don't think anybody watching this hasn't seen these 2 episodes, but just in case, you never know. So anyway, continue, good sir.
Episode 6 was awesome because you start seeing this whole setup, and then they really develop this idea that we're going to have an army of bastards, which is, something from 7, right? And it's great because one of the best in the original Game of Thrones, one of the best episodes was the Battle of the Bastards, where the 2 leaders on either side were both illegitimate, and it was like a battle up in the north. Battle of the Bastards is fucking hardcore, dude. And it's interesting that she's, saying we're going to have an army of bastards. So I thought that was a kind of a cool little reference, get you excited about it.
Because I never watched Game of Thrones. I'd always heard about Battle of the Bastards. And I remember I was at your house years ago and you're like, just watch the scene. Just watch the scene.
Yeah.
And I remember I remember the photography being kind of dark. And not knowing who was who, so I wasn't really as blown away with it because I didn't know who anybody was. True. But then we watched it where somebody put lightsabers on all the swords, and I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
Dude, what's it called? So it was really great to, sort of see all of that being fleshed out in episode 7, but trying it out first in episode 6. And
Yeah.
then, really seeing some of the spycraft, because you probably have at this point in episode 6, Rhaenyra's low point of resources, of support, of morale, like her own counsel. Like she has to fucking slap that dude, be
She's
like,
gone. They don't know what to do. Like she
yeah.
finally appoints a hand, but then she doesn't ask. She doesn't do anything with him.
She's
She's
always
using
like,
the white.
I'm looking for information. I'm going to go do reconnaissance.
She's using the white worm for everything. But frankly, everything the white worm tells her, she should know already. Just
the
from
white
her
worm is
family.
the real counsel, and you really do see that. Like at the end of 6. But she's the one confidant, and like talk about unstrategic, dude. Like, why is the spy master who will sell anyone any information and told you to your face is going to be your greatest confidant that you go strategize with? Like, I don't know.
That's why I don't trust her, and I don't think it's going to happen this season, but I think she's going to be fully into her own plan. There's just no way that's not going to be something that happens. Like,
yeah, never trust
she's
the ones
going
who
to
say,
she's going to
tell me all your plans.
yeah, which I want to talk about 7 so much because it's so much. We just watched it yesterday. No. We got a lot to unpack on 6 too.
Meanwhile, you almost have that same question in Harrenhal with Daemon, because he's going deeper in episode 6 into his hallucinations. Yeah, I know, right? Eddard Stark.
Is that your boy Hunter? I think I met that dude a long time ago.
Yeah, what's up, bro? Yeah,
what's up, dude?
AC, what's going on, Joe?
Oh, dude, all your boys are showing up.
Hell yeah, yeah. I sent that link out.
That's right.
Yeah, I was like, dude, even just click on the link for 1 second.
That's cool, man. Yeah, it's always cool.
Yeah.
But
but so you can see what's going on in Harrenhal with Daemon, and he's going through like his inner demons, like confronting everyone that in his mind we
finally got Viserys too.
Yeah, Viserys going, dude, and I love that you see Viserys in Daemon's different dreams getting worse and worse until the final appearance where he like in 7,
right? He's in his prime,
like,
first vision.
Yeah, and so like Daemon's going through this whole thing, and really how much of it is just the drugs that the owl, the queen, what's her name? Alice Rivers, she's like the sorceress of Harrenhal,
the woods witch.
Yeah, she's hundreds of years old. She's held this place down for a long time. And so all it is like, who isn't under her spell in that castle? Like, you think that old dude who's in charge, the Castellan, like, you think he's not drinking whatever stuff, she's
Simon Strong.
Yeah.
Simon Strong is fucking hilarious, dude. Like, he's just so like, what I don't know. I just try to stay alive.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, look at my bumbling sons. Like, we're not even the heirs, like that dude got murdered by his, kid. Like, dude, he's just trying to stay alive. But you really see.
I love his character though, because he clearly knows a lot and he's really wise. But he's just watching Daemon and trying to keep everything nice and calm.
Yeah. But so I think that Alice Rivers is kind of like what you have going on over with the White Worm. Where like they're both sort of not the sorceress. One's more of a spy master, but the other one is, she's like the sorceress who has her own powers, and she at least knows what's going on, if not like is actively in charge of everything, So it seems like they're almost sort of the two powers behind Daemon and, and the queen. And so I don't know, it's interesting to see those supporting characters really being a big part of the screen time and just the storylines,
Especially since I could have sworn last week, episode 6 was going to be the end of Daemon's, acid trip arc, but it wasn't. It's still kind of going on, even though this episode, or
he's
7,
still there, dude. He's still there.
But when he gets his ass handed to him by a teenager, a lot of shit changes, which we'll get not physically, but just somebody that he did not see coming. Which I love. But yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, I think I'm still not entirely sure what Alice Rivers' plan is. Like, a lot of people think that she's actually there, but she's shape shifting to him. It's just another theory. I'm not really sure, but like, because remember, our last discussion was: is she there? Is she not there? Is she in his head, or is she really there? But he can see her, and then we see Simon Strong nodding to her as she walks past him. So maybe she doesn't look the same to other people. I don't know.
Well, he does refer to her, in 7, he does refer to her when Damon is like, well, how did old man Tully die? Well, he'd been sick and all the doctors tried, and even our renowned, Alice Rivers tried, but he died. And it's like, she's behind all of this over there. Like, she's pulling all the strings. And I think that she would have to be sort of like a local protector or something, like she just wants Heron Hall and that family and everyone to be safe at the end of the day.
I think like, she's like I was going to say, she's like kind of the watch. Oh, she watches over Heron Hall or something.
Yeah. She's like the protector of it, but it's interesting because that character, I feel like she's been getting more screen time. But now that we're maybe getting into 7 a bit as well, these other side characters like Hugh, the armor, and then you got the drunken dude who like can't help keep a secret in a bar. Like, he walks in, he's like, "Hi, I'm the illegitimate brother of Damon and the dead king. Yeah. Don't tell anyone because that's worth a lot of money." Buy me drinks. Like, that dude, how is he still alive? But those two
guys. That's why this whole experiment of Rhaenyra's is so insane. It's insane. But it could end up working, and we'll find out obviously later.
They are very inexperienced writers. And
right.
And even when you look at, okay, I just want to say something about incompetent bodyguards because there seem to be a lot of them in the show. Because meanwhile, over in the Vale, right, when Lady Rhaena Targaryen, Daemon's younger daughter, who doesn't have a dragon, she's taking care of like the kids and the baby dragons.
He was supposed to have Vhagar, right? Yeah.
And she can't get a dragon. So she's going after this wild dragon, the sheep stealer, right? I guess in the books there was a different character, and on the show they're putting the two characters together into one person. But regardless, she walks out of the castle with the queen of that area, right? Lady Aaron. And what does the queen say? "I'm sending you with the other children, the baby dragons, and I'm going to send 6 bodyguards or however many with you onto this ship to that prince across the sea, and they will let you live with them. And I will guarantee with these bodyguards as my guys, your safe passage." And she walks out the front door of the castle and literally just walks away. And not a single one of those bodyguards was like, "Weren't we supposed to be with her? Isn't she part of this group that we're supposed to go with?" Not a single one. They just let her walk away and find a wild dragon. Worst bodyguards since all the fucking dogs in the Red Keep when the rat catcher was murdering that baby. These are the worst bodyguards since those bodyguards. Like, who the fuck does personal security around this place? I don't see how they live this long. I don't get it. So she's going to find a dragon, right? And then she's going to be a dragon rider, right? Sheep stealer, the wild dragon.
Yeah.
So,
and I have a question later on when we get to 7. We can kind of merge these together a little bit.
Yeah.
When she sees the field of burnt sheep, why is that significant to her character as opposed to, like, is it like what? I don't know. I guess I was kind of confused on that.
She can't get a dragon.
No, I know that because she was supposed to have Vhagar initially. Yeah.
And they even tried to give Sea Smoke to her, but Sea Smoke wasn't having it, and so she's been sort of passed over, and she's been told, "You take care of these little dragon hatchlings, and all the young
Yeah,
little toddlers.
that's right. She made her take off and take the yeah. That's right. Yeah,
She's
that's
supposed
why
to be
you
their
see those little
governess.
baby dragons kind of hanging around with her and stuff. Yeah.
So it's rubbing in her face that she doesn't have a dragon. and so when she sees that there's so this is one of the 3 wild dragons. It's called Sheep Stealer. And so when she sees the fried sheep in the meadow, and she finds out from Lady Aaron that, or whatever her name is, Lady Gray,
Yeah,
Lady Jane, I forget.
that might be it.
Yeah, but she finds out that they've got this wild dragon out there. Sheep Stealer is out there. That's when she just walks off. So she's going to get that dragon. She's going to be on Rhaenyra's side, right? And then now Rhaenyra's got Tweedledee and fucking not even Tweedledum. They're like Humpty Dumpty and Tweedledee, or just Tweedle, you know. But these guys are such opposites. The Hugh, who's like, you know, why is Hugh chosen by that one dragon? And that's Sea Smoke, right? No, Sea Smoke took off.
Yeah, Sea Smoke fucking fried the guy that was gonna try to take
Sea
him.
Smoke left, right? And
he
Sea
took
Smoke,
off. Yeah,
Sea Smoke went and decided that he wanted Adam, right? Isn't that his name, Adam?
Yeah, who some people theorize that he thinks is Rhaenyra's husband from season 1 that was gay.
Yeah,
he doesn't think
that was his last night. The idea is that remember how he had shaved his head, they killed some other dude and burned his body, and we're like, that's me, and I'm gonna take off with my boyfriend and go across the seas to live my life. And his dragon would have no other rider until suddenly Sea Smoke was restless, and Sea Smoke was like, I need another rider. And so the idea is that maybe he died off screen. And
I was going to say, because the dragon can't.
His half brother. Sea Smoke immediately goes and seeks out the guy's half brother.
But you can't. A dragon won't go to another rider unless their former rider's dead, right?
I think. I mean, that's what I heard. You know, who knows?
That's what I've read. Yeah. So he must be dead off screen, or who knows? He must
have been dead off screen, or whatever. And so at that point, who does Sea Smoke go for? The dude's half brother. So Sea Smoke is just like, okay, I'm going, you know. But then you have Hugh, like, what's his angle? Because I get that the drunk dude, what's his name? Ulf?
I don't even know his name.
I'm just gonna call him the drunk one. I think it's Ulf.
Ulf is good. Ulf is good. Yeah.
Good enough for me. That guy, the guy who can't keep a secret in the tavern, like he is actually the grandson of the last rider of that dragon that claimed him. So that dragon is like hasn't seen another person in like 50 years except for the dragon keepers. And the first thing I was like, why don't one of the dragon keepers just try to ride a dragon? And for them, that's blasphemy because they're not from the right family. You know, and that answers that question. You know, in 7 when they go on strike. And so you know, I think that you've got the grandson of the last rider in one case, the half brother of the last rider in another case. But what's the connection with Hugh? That's what I don't understand. Why did that dragon claim Hugh?
Yeah. Well, and again, I want to talk about 7 too, but do you want to read this one? Can you see that? Okay.
It may just be me, but I'm over this acid trip thing Damon is going through. Like, get your head together. We got a war to fight, dude. Yeah, that guy's just tripping balls, huh? He just keeps eating the mushroom soup.
I've heard a lot of people say that they kind of wasted Matt Smith this season. I think his acting has been phenomenal. I think, I mean, there's still 2 more seasons, but he was kind of like a man of war and action, and they're really utilizing him differently this year. But I'm with Ash D. I'm tired of it. I want something to happen with him, with all this stuff. But again, you know, I don't know where the story's
like
going.
An epic showdown between him and his nephew.
Well, that's what everyone's hoping.
Yeah, but I mean, I think
people are even showing like a clip from season 1 where they look at each other like we're going to be just arch nemesis, pretty much. You know, like
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think that's how it ends up supposedly, like in the books, where they have this epic dragon battle against each other. And I could go into the details, but basically they both
yeah,
die.
right.
Yeah, but from what I understand, they both die in the same instance, Aemond and Daemon. And so I won, they obviously,
Spoilers.
right? Yeah. So they're obviously not going to do that in the last episode of season 1, but or season 2, I mean. But
No.
maybe sometime
No.
season 3 or season 4. I mean, that's got to be an epic showdown they're going to build up to at some point.
Yeah, I think so. It'll probably end like
He can keep his tongue. Now, see, that
so,
won't get you in trouble.
So there was cool dragon stuff, but one of the more interesting things from like a surface level was Rhaenyra's move, which was kind of brilliant, to just bring over the small boats of rations that I guess they just hoped that the common folk would find before like the king's men and all the other people found. But it sure worked in their favor and basically caused an uprising in King's Landing, which I thought was fucking great. Everyone chanting Queen Rhaenyra. I want to know what that first guy that finds the first boat, he's just like, I'll tell everyone else, but I got to get this one boat just for me somewhere first.
You hope so. I love
but
that.
That made me think about like how when the show shows you Dragonstone, you don't see it as a community. You see it as just like a base for like the council and the warriors. But I guess it is a community.
Dragonstone. Yeah,
you don't see them, but I guess like the book you do, and there is a population, but you don't see it on the show. So when they have all that food, I'm like, why do they have all this food? And I was like, oh, okay, because they probably have other people. But the show hasn't shown that, so I'm guessing the show's portraying Dragonstone more as just like their castle, and there's no common folk or anything like that.
That's the way I've always seen it. I don't know.
Yeah. What'd you think about that strategic move of Rhaenyra? To bring all the food to the people and let them know who it was.
Yeah, through her own blockade. But I mean, that's a boss move, because what she's doing with what the cool, before we're asking why is she with the White Worm? Well, look at what she is able to produce. She's able to go and distribute these food supplies. She's able to find the illegitimate, like Targaryens. She's able to, orchestrate those riots that they did before. And like, it's all through her power of knowing the small folk and having that network, like she's fucking runs the neighborhood, dude. She runs the streets and she knows all the servants and everything like that. And so that's her power. And you're really seeing what this is it's kind of changing. Cause if you remember at the very beginning with Otto Hightower and all them, they tried not this younger generation, but like, with Viserys and Hightower, like they tried to seem legitimate to the people, and they always did that. But starting with Alicent, they're like, "No, we're just gonna take this shit," and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, well, we're gonna call them whatever they want because they're in charge of the food." Oh, the food's coming from this person instead of that person. Oh, that's the name that we're supposed to chant. Because that's just how it was in this world, right? So it's interesting to see the Greens losing that public support and looking at how like you're saying, the food and the other stuff they're doing through like Massaria, that's like really doing the politics among the people. And most of what we see is everyone in the high towers, like up in the palaces and castles and stuff like that, negotiating with each other, but you don't really see anything about public opinion. So it's interesting to see the way that they're trying to manipulate the popular word on the street.
Yeah. So you basically have, before the food shows up and the King's Landing sort of uprising happens, you have Aemon basically telling his mother that he fucking hates her and thinks she's weak and she's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
which doesn't surprise anyone because she's
Here.
a terrible mom. Yeah, and so when that uprising happens, the fear in her face, and Olivia Cook plays it so well. Like, am I even protected anymore? Does like anybody care? But there are people that are like, come with us, my lady. You have to get out of here, or whatever. And then you just find her, in episode 7, just like completely out of everything, pretty much. As far as having any say in anything, it's an interesting turn of events for sure.
Well, she's definitely going through her, story arc, and having her, fall from grace and sort of time of reflection. Same way Damon, and in Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister, watching that, personal growth, whatever. That's a big part of these storylines, and so it's really cool to kind of see hers, but not so long and drawn out. It's like, we'll give you about 10 minutes one episode to show your contrition, like just go be Lady in the Lake and just, like go baptize yourself and just purify it all and you'll be good. So that's sort of her like redemption moment. But
here it is. Here's the moment where they're like, fuck, dude, if one of them grabs us, they're gonna dismember us and pull us apart.
Yeah, right then and there. And they're like, sheathe your swords, But that got kind of crazy real quick.
Yeah, I did like that scene. I thought it was very intense. You didn't know what was going to happen. A lot of people, you can tell, got mauled, but yeah, what people will do for food to stay alive, So,
and
here we have our sort of closing. Hey, baby, this is going to come out of left field, but I think I want to kiss you. And I've been told that's very Game of Thronesy, so it's not super out of left field. I think it's more like I just didn't see that as a thing in this show. Like, I didn't see that coming, and I don't know what it's going to add to the show, because they didn't even mention it in season 7, or I'm sorry, in episode 7. But I mean, it's fine. I mean, who doesn't like watching? Never mind, forget that. But I don't know.
The thing about this is that the season is compressed. When you were watching Game of Thrones, the seasons are like what, like 10, 12 episodes or something like that. And they're just as long.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was more than 8. So what you really do see here is like they're really compressing the storytelling. What used to be maybe like a story that would arc over, say, 5 episodes, they're doing it in 3. They're like, here's a setup.
Yeah.
Here's the execution. And okay, we got this plot line resolved, this story resolved. Just on individual character levels. But yeah, so like for example, the river. All the people, the river folk, whatever the fuck you call them, the two families that were always feuding, and
the Blackwoods and the Brackens. Yeah,
that's the ones. And, so you're looking at like them and their whole storyline of this one side went and did horrible atrocities to the other side, but it was as a secret present to the king. And, and then fucking Damon is called out by the young Tully. And he's like, dude, your guy here did horrible things to the rest of us. And it was because you wanted it to happen. We don't like you, but we're not loyal to you. We're loyal to Rhaenyra. So we recognize that we're on the same team, but like, you better kill this motherfucker now if you want us to do anything to help you out. And Damon thinks about it for what, half a second, but he was like, yeah, chop a chop. He just gets to chopping. That's what Damon does. Yeah. He's like, oh, you want me to kill someone?
He's definitely getting thrown for a loop in these last 2 episodes, realizing that maybe he doesn't have power that he thought he had. Because there's other very smart people that he's undermining. Alice Rivers and the kid, which we'll get to in episode 7. I think we can hop over to 7 now, right? I mean, we talked about the kiss. We talked about Dragon Rider got fried, and the uprising in King's Landing. So 7 just moves at like such a breakneck awesome pace. I thought, like, I loved how it built, and I thought, what was her name? Emma Darcy, that plays Rhaenyra. This was maybe her best episode ever. Like, she just crushed it. Finally you're seeing all of that, Targaryen, like, strength in her, like, the way she can dominate and control the dragons. Like, oh dude, it was so cool to see, because it reminds you of a couple of seasons, or a couple of episodes from season 1 where she's the younger version, and you see her just understanding and all the, like this scene right here. Let's see if it's going to pop up. Just her whole demeanor and just like,
she'll go toe to toe with you.
Yeah. Oh, dude, zero fear, nothing. Just, it comes out. This is Silverwing that comes out, I believe. No. This is the one that's almost as big as Vagar. I can't remember his name though.
Bronze.
We'll call him Hagar. We'll call him Hagar. We'll call him Sammy Hagar. But look at this motherfucker. Yeah. That guy right there is a fucking badass, man. When he goes, come on, like, oh, dude, I had chills, man. But he claims this bad boy right here. I know we're jumping ahead, but I just love. But I
still wonder what his connection is.
They've been showing him. They've been showing him off and on all season. But yeah, he must.
But what's his connection? Like his family connection.
He must just have a droplet of of Targaryen blood or something. Look at that dragon, dude. I think that
to be another half brother of Daemon and Viserys.
Maybe. Sometimes I get mixed up or trying to remember who's who sometimes, but
yeah, I think they are. I just don't know the name of the dragon that he gets. That's not Sea Smoke, is it? No, Sea Smoke.
No, there's 2 dragons that get claimed in this one. One is Silverwing, which is later by that just stumbling guy.
Silverwing was just chilling in her cave, and then the fucking guy stumbles in.
And Silverwing was just like, well, I haven't seen a human in 1,000 years. I guess you'll do.
Yeah. And you're the grandson of my last rider, so okay.
Very, very, very cool looking dragon, though. Both of these ones. I mean, this gigantic one is so badass looking.
That dude is a drunk flyer, dude. He just gets up. He's straight from the bar. He's still drunk when he gets on the dragon. And like, Rhaenyra must have been like, just go do a lap over King's Landing, which is just across the bay. We're like talking.
Let's go fuck with them.
Yeah, and then come and just try to lure him back here real quick. Try to lure him back here real quick. They won't expect it, right? They'll think they're going to eat you, but meanwhile, the 3 of us will all be waiting for ambush, which is what Vagar.
I think it played out
just done to their side. You know what I mean?
I think it played out like this, Bob. It played out like this.
Let's get the hell out of here! Let's get the hell out of here!
Oh my God! Exactly how it ended up, and which is good because you would hope that Aemon would recognize the trap that he had just set, that he had just used, that also gave him the opportunity to take out his brother. So he saw that same trap, and he's like, "Oh no, they're trying to do my trick to me. Like, hold up, let's circle back. Let's go home." Right? We don't want to do this. That would be stupid. So I like that they have that first little, it's like in a chess match, and you just put that first opening attack on the enemy queen, and they're like, oh, okay, right. Cool. Let's
Aemon's not an idiot. Like he sees Syrax right behind Rhaenyra, and then he sees Silverwing, and then he sees, Hagar, we'll say, the big, and he's like, dude, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
Like, no fucking chance. So he's just like, so he basically, he said,
let's get the hell out of here!
So good. Yes, dude, he does, which is smart. So like you can't just do an early little trick to like lure someone into a trap. They're gonna have to have a pitched battle maybe next episode. I don't know. What do you think?
I hope. Well, next episode is the season finale, so something's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna be all build up. I don't think there'll be a huge battle, but there'll be an incident, and it'll involve dragons for sure. Because now we know, and now all the people on the show now know that this war can only be fought with dragons, pretty much. You know,
Yes,
like you can't.
and it's going to take boots on the ground also because
Of course.
Because they just tried in episode 7, they just tried to do the ambush to take out Vagar, and if they could have done that, that would not have involved any boots on the ground, nothing. It's just a quick fight between dragons, and I think that's what Rhaenyra's still going for because she still wants to have the least violent option, and like she's just going for that early strike, but it's like, again, strategically she's copying the other guy's move that he just did to them. So
I took it that she was flexing muscles. I took it that she was flexing her muscles more than actually thinking that he was gonna, go in there and get taken out. But
yeah, she's flexing some muscle, huh? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, okay. Vermithor. Okay, so that's okay, cool.
Ash, do you know why Hugh got claimed by Vermithor? Because I don't know what is he somehow related to Vermithor's last rider?
He was also just a badass, like going, "Come on," that was hardcore.
Yeah, that was hardcore, and he was doing it to distract the for Vermithor from someone else. So anyway,
but I love second biggest dragon.
I love how Rhaenyra is like, thank you all, distant relatives of my family, for joining us here for this family reunion for the first time. Many of you will die, but maybe 2 of you will become incredibly lucky.
And that's exactly what happens. Yeah. Everyone dies. In horrible, like Jurassic Park T-Rex ways, like biting and like swinging them around,
burning them and eating them, and they're on fire, and you see them going back into the mouth, like.
I love that scene so much. It was terrifying. It was terrifying because they're just pets that, like, for all they know, if they don't see a rider with blood, they just see like treats, or they see like, or they see threat, something like that. So
yeah, pretty much. And the only thing that doesn't come across as a threat is someone's very familiar to them that they can understand.
That can speak the language. Yeah.
But apparently you don't even have to speak the language, dude. Because like, I don't think Hugh.
I guess not. I'm gonna fill this up real quick. Keep going.
Yeah. I don't think either of those guys speak Valyrian at all, and they haven't even ever been trained on how to fly a dragon. And so it's amazing to think that they're going to be the ones that are going to go up against people that actually have flown the dragons and do know what they're doing. Who have been like training with them for years, like their whole lives,
and that have been in actual dragon fights with other
dragons. Actual dragon fights with other dragons. And it's like,
which I'm guessing not a lot of people can say.
No, not a lot of people can say that at all. And the idea that just these random people are like suddenly, okay, cool. Now you get to fight. You get to fly the fighter jet, and it's like, okay, cool. What do the buttons do? Just go.
Yeah, just put it on autopilot. It'll do everything.
It'll be fine. Just tell it.
Well, that's the way. Like Sea Smoke, basically. We've been talking so much about like the core of this episode. The opening is amazing. Where Rhaenyra, like, she doesn't know what Sea Smoke's doing, who this guy is that's on it, and she's super like nervous about it. So her and Sarax like come down. Sarax gets in like fighting stance, basically, and then the guy's like, "Shit, man. I'm on your side. I don't know why the fuck this thing picked me."
I introduced myself. The dragon chose me, and gonna let you know. But yeah, so
and she is beyond stoked when that happens.
Yeah, but I love that her first reaction is, why are you bending the knee like so easy? And what's going
So
on?
easy, yeah.
So easy, just like that. And he's like, I'm on your side, like you're my queen. And she's like, it can't be that easy. But this guy, he really wants to show that, he is somebody, he wants to like really prove himself. Like, he figures that just, since he and the other guy, the shipwright, whatever, are, the illegitimate kids of Corliss, and they obviously
And
must have.
he doesn't tell her that, does he? He
No,
doesn't tell her that.
not when he gets a chance. No, he's not bringing it up. And he hasn't even really got that recognition of like connection. Like, when's he ever talked to Corliss? Until suddenly he's the Dragon Rider, and then his dad is like, "Hey, good job," because like that means something for Corliss, because that's how he came up. Like he did, he did it all himself. And so he's like, okay, cool. This one of my how many more legitimate kids do these people have? Like,
they do a lot of fucking, man. Yeah, look at Surax.
Exactly.
Surax is just like, motherfucker, what are you doing here?
See, like this shot, I love that they go and they show.
Look how unbelievably amazing the effects look on this. Like, it is just this. I mean, where this money was spent. I didn't mean to cut you off, except for the fact that a lot of CGI is always bled into like dark photography because it hides some of the rough edges. This is just like broad daylight, beautiful, bright. My dumbass just clicked off on it, but oh yeah, they changed the opening too. But
Yeah,
I love this fucking just this standoff. It's not really a standoff. It ends pretty quick, but why can't I get back to that scene where where Surax is just like, Surax is kind of a small dragon compared to, but look at Sea Smoke. Just, oh dude, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry. I love this episode
like
because the thing that fascinates me the most about the thing that fascinates me most about this show, House of the Dragon, is this connection between the people and their dragons, and like the dragons' personalities, and you're still getting to know that a lot more this season than last season. But that to me is the most fascinating stuff for sure.
And really seeing these dragons as characters, because some of them are in Game of Thrones. I think some of these eggs and hatchlings. Yeah, because like the in Game of Thrones, they have eggs that hatch and grow.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so you're seeing those eggs now, and so it's like some of these dragons are the ones from Game of Thrones that we've seen from before. And so it's kind of cool to see those characters, developing with their own stories of like how they get their rider or whatever. And
it's awesome.
Get in. Yeah, that's a great shot.
No, it's great. Now we have on the blacks, we have Sea Smoke, we have Silverwing, we have Surax, we have what was the one Ash G just dropped? Vermithor. Like, dude, Vagar, fuck you. Like, go and hide, man. Like, there's no way.
In the preview for episode 8, isn't there a shot of, I think, Aemon telling Helena that she needs to ride her dragon into battle? Sweet.
Oh, I haven't watched the promo yet. I haven't watched it yet.
At the end of this episode, like just skip the credits, and then they'll have
No, I've seen them before, but for some reason I didn't watch it yesterday. But yeah.
But
cool.
I think they're gonna ask Helena to get up on a dragon. I'm like, dude, you know who's not good in the dragon fight? Sweet innocent Helena, that poor long suffering, the one innocent in this place, except for her children.
She's gonna be, look at all the pretty colors.
Yeah, she's just weaving
dragon.
The tapestry.
Can we go find some mushroom fields?
I bet you the whole Game of Thrones intro is a tapestry that she's weaving. Like. And she just keeps putting into it.
Wouldn't be surprised. God, this shot just defines everything that this show is so far. Like, the castle in the background. There's one thing missing is up on the castle is where Silverwing ends up, but It's just such a badass shot.
And when you look at the expression on Rhaenyra's face here, it reminds me
Yeah.
of the season ending, season 1, final episode, the last
just
shot.
about to say that.
Where,
Bring me Aemon. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's the look on her face from that moment. Remember? Because, like, you know, she lost her, like, pregnancy because of the stress of her other kid. It wasn't just that she got her one kid eaten. It's that hearing about that, you know, made her lose that new pregnancy that she had. So for her, it was a twofer, and she was so fucking pissed when she turns around from the fireplace after hearing the news, and she's a look on her face, you know. And then later on in the beginning of season 2, where the one line she said, and it was like episode 1 or episode 2, "I want Aemon Targaryen."
Yeah, bring me. Didn't you say bring me?
Bring me Aemon Targaryen. That was her only line, and everything else she would had so much screen time, but it was just all the acting and the way that other people were speaking to her, and you know, and it was just like such a good performance. And now here you see that same look, you know, as from like those moments, and it's almost like leading into, because the season ending, they got to give us something, and it looks like they're trying to recruit dragons. I don't think they're going to have the, you know, pitched knockdown be all battle, but like, you know, something's got to go down, because it almost
this image right here is that's all you need for a setup of something's coming in this last episode. This image right here, her taunting him, and this is Rhaenyra and Aemon's first interaction since last season. I mean, obviously the two actors aren't on screen together, like, you know, it's a totally different thing, but they're looking at each other from afar.
They are.
And when the first time that she's looked at him,
this is when she's like, fuck it, I'll get him myself.
Yeah, exactly. And she is proving. I went from, Bobak, if you remember us talking about the first half, I went from going, she's getting annoying because she's indecisive, I'm not understanding her plan, to now going like, she is like the conqueror of like she's a wrangler. Like she knows what they want. Yeah, she, you know, a lot of innocent people died, but she gave them a choice too, you know, like, do you want to be a dragon rider to save your family and feed yourselves, or you're going to just be fried up in 2 seconds? And most of them died, but I think, you know, they all knew that was coming.
Yeah.
And the one guy whose one eye is looking that way and one eye is looking that way, like he didn't last very long.
Well, he's got to be one of those poor bastards from the pits, you know, remember when they have the kids fighting each other? And he's got to be one of them, you know, like that's why his face was all bashed in and sewed back up, because he was like one that survived the rings. You know what I mean? So like he was like, fuck, I'll go first.
Yeah, Ashton, you're right. Like they just recruit in the last couple episodes. You have Sea Smoke recruiting his own writer, and then you have Silverwing getting recruited. Then you have Varathor get recruited. And then there's also another one too, right? So no, it was those ones. But yeah, so they have 6 dragons to Team Green, who has Vagar, and then like,
and they're also teasing the Sheep Stealer, the Wild Dragon.
What's that?
They're also teasing the Wild Dragon, the Sheep Stealer.
Oh, that's right. That's why that scene was there, because it's a dragon we haven't seen. It wasn't like a wild dragon or something.
They gotta do that connection next episode.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm sure they will if they teased it. Yeah, or at least I hope. Yeah.
But they're building to it, you know, that storyline. Last you saw, the princess was running away from her bodyguard, and none of them noticed, because she's going straight for the wild dragon that they all know to protect her from.
That's right. See, with you saying that those scenes make more sense to me, because I was kind of, this guy's back too, wasn't he in season 1?
He's the bodyguard of the queen when she's like, I'm gonna go and swim in the lake. Don't tell anyone, because I'm
gonna wear all my clothes in the lake. Yeah.
Well, that was her bathing suit at that time. That's probably like their unders. They'd have layers of, you know, here's my shift and my undershift. I don't know what they're called. But
well, my joke from the beginning was that, like, I guess in like traditional Game of Thrones, she just would have been completely butt naked. But you know.
Oh, dude, yeah, original Game of Thrones, of course. But Yeah, no, this is a different show. But but you know, she's going through that thing where the last time she left the Red Keep, there was a riot where she and her daughter almost died. And like, a dude who put his hand on her literally got it chopped off, you know, like right in front of her. So
Yeah. Oh man, like his arm got
PTSD.
cut off, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, but so look at who gets. Thank you for putting the scene up. Look at who gets blamed and kicked out by Eamon. The two dudes who are with his brother when his brother humiliated him at the brothel, and
Yeah, the
he's like,
two loser
yeah,
Kingsguard who are just drunken
yeah,
frat buddies.
yeah, the frat buddies, they get kicked the fuck out, and why? To the black, you know, yeah, and they're like, he's being merciful. He's only going to send him to the Night's Watch. He's just looking for the first. What the hell do they have to do with anything? You know, and like, you know, because they were blamed for starting the food riots, and you know, so that's why they're going to take the black and go to the Night's, you know, go to the wall to defend us all against death and winter. Yeah, that shot right there, dude. That's where they lost their cloaks. They trade the white cloaks for the black. But yeah, I thought that was
shifting
hilarious.
from shifting what made this episode so amazing to me, which was all the dragon lore and Rhaenyra, just one of the best performances of the show with her today, or yesterday. But going back to Harrenhal, Daemon getting confronted by the strong kid. Was it like Oscar Strong or something?
Yeah,
what's that?
I think his Tully. I think his grandfather was the old, you know, guy who everyone in the Riverlands all were pledged to obey. And so then when he
you're
died,
right, Oscar Tully. Oscar Tully. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think he's Tully. But yeah, you know, he's like, yeah, I am young, and I hope to not mess this up. And
he's kind of a fucking beast, though, man. He's kind of a beast.
He
Ain't
pulled
scared at all of Daemon, man.
He walked up to Daemon and he was like, do you want this army or not? And Daemon's like, I want it.
Well, like, Daemon at one point even goes, watch your tone, boy. And he's just like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, my tone.
I love this kid, Oscar Tully. Great performance. Yeah, but you're right. He's kind of like the guy that everyone said, and he, you know, he's young, but he's like, I've already seen a bunch of shit. I don't know what he's seen, but because I don't know if he's supposed to be like, what's that?
Well, he's been the guy there as everyone in the Riverlands have been turning on each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, so while his grandpa's been out, people have been talking to him, but he can't make any decisions. So he kind of knows what's going on, I would think, at that level. But it's good to see him, you know, because he's pulling a Rhaenyra where he literally walks up to Daemon and just tells him how it is in a way that Daemon has to be like, okay, you know, we'll do it your way.
Daemon, right here, Daemon tries a little you know, scare tactics, like little hey, you know, fear me or whatever. And this kid, like right there, you're like, hey, he looks like the kid from Mac and Me or E.T. And he's like, and then he talks, and you're like, oh shit, like he's not fucking around.
He's not fucking around.
Oh, and there's the Cookie Monster or whatever. I don't know what the hell that came on there,
Oscar.
but anyway, or Oscar,
yeah.
But yeah, right. This scene. I know, Bobak, when we watched season 1 together, you were telling me all about those trees that have like the emotional the faces in them. What do you call them again? Like the
weird trees, I think they're
called. The weird trees. So this whole scene, I didn't realize, takes place in front of one of those, right? Yeah. That tree is one of the weird trees. And here's where like Damon's like, watch your tongue, boy. I wish I had audio, but I get hit if I played it. So but then you notice a moment where Daemon even goes over and looks at Simon Strong. He's like, what the fuck's up with this kid? And he's like, it's like, I don't know.
I just arranged the meeting. That's all it is. I arranged the meeting you asked for, sir, my king.
Yeah. That's it.
Stay alive. That guy. Yeah. But the weird tree, when you know you've got the old gods and the new, when you hear these guys swear an oath, they'll say by the old gods and the new. The new gods are the 7 aspects of one god, and one of them is the warrior, and others this and that and the other, you know. So like when they say like when Alicent is saying goodbye to her brother before he and Kriston take off the second time with a bunch of soldiers, you know, she's like, I pray to the warrior that, you know, you'll make it. That's one aspect, one of the 7 aspects of like a single god. And that's the new god, the 7 aspects of the new god. The old gods, this is where they're worshipped, at these trees. And so when the people from the north, or maybe the Riverlands and stuff, when they go and swear an oath for their religion, they go to these trees, because these trees are the living altars of the old gods. And so when they go there and they say, you know, I'm going to be loyal to you and you're loyal to them, and here's our hierarchy, they'll do it in front of this tree because they're worshiping the old gods. They're not worshiping the new gods the way they do in the South. Like Alicent, she was wearing for a while, she got religious. She took off her religious jewelry, but when she does her like self-cleansing thing in the woods, but she was for a while, she started in season 2 wearing the jewelry of the 7. And she's been spending her time over lighting the candles in that big temple. That's like the Vatican temple, you know, Vatican or whatever of her religion. And so, you know, she takes that stuff off, but she's of the South, and in the South, they worship the new gods in those big temples and the 7 aspects. But in the North, they'll worship over these trees. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's so detailed, because I remember you introduced me to that whole thing. That was one of those details from season 1 where if you didn't watch Game of Thrones, you would have no fucking idea why this tree has a face in it, because they don't tell you in the show. You just have to kind of know what that is. And you told me about the whole thing, and you were like, even like, watch, his face changes like here and there. I was like, oh shit, that's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. You know, and so, you know, there's a whole storyline about how a person goes into one of those trees and gets the third eye of a raven, and you know that means that they're able to like fly around the body of a raven, a sort of special raven that can see backwards and forward in time and like know everything, you know. So like you go through that process. Bran himself, the guy, the Stark kid who gets pushed out of the window at the very beginning of the whole Game of Thrones, and at the very end, he's the one who ultimately becomes the new king after everything is wrapped up. At the very, very end, he goes into one of these trees and he becomes this three-eyed raven.
Wait, the little kid, because I watched the first half season of Game of Thrones. The little kid who walks in on a brother and sister having sex and gets thrown out the window not only lives but becomes like a king.
Yeah,
I thought he died for some reason.
Well, he's crippled, and
he's crippled.
You know, okay. Yeah, he cannot use his legs, and so after that, he has to be dragged around by people, and then eventually they invent a wheelchair for him, you know, for a while. But for the most part, he's carried around by someone, and that character's name is Holdor. Wow. This is a whole big character arc with him, but it has to do with Bran, and so he actually goes into one of these trees for a while, into one of the weird trees, and that's how he gains all this knowledge and becomes the three-eyed raven, is inside one of those trees. Yeah, so they're like they're a trippy thing. They're connected to the children, which is like the natives of Westeros from before the first men came over, and the children were like a different race, and they lived in the trees, and they're the ones who have to do with the weird trees and stuff like that. You know, so
God,
these humans,
there's so much like there's so much to like. It's almost like as strong of a backstory as like your Lord of the like Tolkien writing novels and textbooks and Bibles about it, like about his, you know, about Middle Earth. It's almost that rich.
I feel like it is, you know, because it's not a story about one age.
Only it's incomplete. But so this is the next time we see Daemon having a hard time looking at Viserys, because he didn't really. Yeah, I mean, the CGI looks a little different than it did from season 1.
But still, dude, amazing. This scene.
No, absolutely. It just doesn't. He doesn't look exactly how he did in those final moments. But But it's so good to see Paddy Considine. That's the actor's name that played Viserys. He's so fucking great. It sucks that he's dead, but obviously it makes sense. But
Crypt
Yeah, he's
Keeper's
looking around.
back.
Look at Damon can't even look at him, and like
No.
he's like the one guy that like Damon always wanted approval of, you know.
True. Yeah. He always did look up to his bigger brother.
So what is your theory? Like, what happens next with Damon? Like, where does he go from here, in your opinion? Like, especially at the end of this season, is he going to still be in Harrenhal at the end? Is he going to show up somewhere and do something? What do you think?
Well, I think that in the book, and I don't know this, but on a YouTube video, I saw that like in the books, Damon gets into Harrenhal, doesn't go through any of this bullshit. He just raises the 40,000 swords. And
Well, because they don't show it all, right? Yeah.
And so like for the TV show, they did this whole other, they're adding in all this drama with Alice Rivers and all this other stuff that apparently weren't really part of the books. So it's just one of those things where the show isn't going exactly where, the books did, they're compressing things. They're, putting different storylines together, combining characters into one character for on screen and stuff. And,
because I've heard it's like an appendix or whatever. It's like super, super short. So they're filling in all those gaps. Like from what I understand, like the book says, Damon goes to Harrenhal and things happen. And that's the book description of it. So they have all this room to play with what it is that happens there. Oh, and also Alice Rivers was there, but we're not going to say anything more. So yeah, the show has all this great like wiggle room. Ashty, I would watch it, but I feel like Bob X told me everything I need to know at this point. So
you still want to see
should I still watch it? I will watch it when this show is done. I will watch it when I'm 55 years old and House of the Dragon is done. Fun.
This is only going to go 2 more seasons, right?
2 more seasons, yeah. You want to read this one, dude?
Fun fact, all the Tully Lords are named after Muppets because George Martin is a Muppet fan. That's why you have Lord Oscar and his grandfather was Lord Grover.
Is that fucking serious?
Grover Tully, Oscar Tully. Well, they have Sir Bert and Sir Ernie.
No fucking way, dude. Like, is there a Lord Snuffleupagus or Where's it, Lord Big Bird?
Yeah, right.
That'd be great if there was a dragon named
brought to
Big
you
Bird,
by
Big Bird
the
dragon.
Numbers 1 and 7.
So Ashty, you're not joking, or you are joking?
Well, George R. R. Martin, but the author does put a lot of references to real and historical people, with all the names and lots of the plot lines and stuff. And even what he doesn't do, it's like almost like a foil to, whatever the other story is that he's referencing. A lot of King Arthur stuff. I mean, I love watching the lady walking, Lady in the Lake imagery with Alicent out in the lake, things like that. Her brother, Sir Gawain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
I mean, like Damon is such a. Oh, okay. No, I believe you. I just didn't know if you were screwing us around or messing with us or whatever. Yeah.
Let's get the hell out of here!
What a great couple of episodes, man. It was so much to talk about, and it's so good to get into them. I'm glad we got to get through a twofer, which is great. And I'm really looking forward
and me too. And I kind of until we started talking about it again, I forgot a lot about 6. So it was good to like get my memory refreshed. Oh yeah, a lot happened in 6. I just forgot because 7 was like last night and it blew my mind. But I think we're good. Anything else you want to add about this one? I think I thought 6 was a real
Ding dong! Ding dong!
Yeah.
And I thought this one was. I definitely liked 7 a lot. It's definitely my second favorite episode of the season for sure. But what about yourself?
Yeah. No, I agree. It's my second favorite episode of this season also. episode 4 being maybe the best episode ever of all Game of Thrones, possibly, but at the very least, the best episode of House of the Dragon. At the very, very least, best episode of second season. And, you can't really top that. But I feel like this is hopefully leading up to something because we still have some reveals that have been hinted at with like the dragons being, the last of the open dragons being claimed. And then, you got to have some kind of dragon fight. And, seeing Helena and other people being, recruited in the clip for next week, I feel like hopefully we're going to get something. But obviously, so you're saying we're going to have 4 seasons, right?
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
So this is the end of the second season, and it's really only going to just end ultimately with a setup, because we have season
for sure
3 and 4 to get through.
I think something will still happen, but yeah, it'll be a setup. Yeah.
It'll be mostly a setup. It'll be a cliffhanger, just like what we saw at the end of season 1, with the look on Rhaenyra's face, and something's going to happen, but you don't know what. So I think that we're going to get some sort of cliffhanger set up like that at the end of it, but hopefully we'll get
as far as Jace confronting his mom, like they've been setting that up for about 3 episodes now. I love what Jace is doing. I think he's very smart.
Mongrels.
I think he's going to be what
he calls everyone else.
You froze up for a second.
Mongrels.
I like what they're doing, but I'm gonna reserve my main Jace talk till next week because I have a feeling it's gonna be a big part of the show for sure. But I love it. I love his character, but they front load him towards the beginning of some of these episodes. So when it gets to the end, you kind of forget his impact on some of them because he's mostly just talking. But I know that he's very smart, and whatever he's cooking up is either going to backfire or work, and it's going to be interesting to see. And hopefully next week we're not going to get any kind of conclusion to probably anything, but at least we'll get some payoffs to something. Hopefully, but great episode. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Let's get the hell out of here!
Well, thanks for joining, everyone. Let me see. Did I miss any chats? I think most of them were Ashty for a little bit. Thanks, Bumpmaster1. Thanks, DJ Play Nice. Thanks to Bob X Homies, KC, Joe, and Hunter. I think they were here for about 3.5 seconds, but I appreciate them being here. Are they also House of the Dragon fans?
Well, the thing is that some of them are just starting to binge. They're like, I'm waiting until the last episode, and then I'm going to binge the whole thing. And I really think that that's a great way of watching season 2.
Hell yeah.
Especially like season 1, we did it that way, and it was amazing. But you don't have to. But season 1, they did this thing with time where they did a time shift, where they like switched out lots of different actors and showed an older version of the same character,
which was fantastic in its own right.
Fantastic. Too, yeah. And so therefore, if you don't watch it back to back, it's fine. But season 2, the whole thing happens in like 15 hours. Like it's like really, really fast. You know?
It's almost like there's a like the show 24.
Yeah. Because there's nothing where they're gonna skip forward 5 years in this the way they did before. They'd have a season, like one scene, and then the next scene's 3 years later. The kids are 3 years older, and it's domestic stuff, with Viserys, been like, can't you all get along? And like now with season 2, you really want to watch it back to back. Like if you're going to binge one of the seasons, binge the second season. So
yeah,
because
and there's only 8 episodes,
ends, and the other one is an exact continuation, and there's no time wasted. They get into everything.
Well, good night to you too, and yeah, thank you, awesome chat. Thanks for always being here and answering a lot of the questions that I don't know. But next week, season finale. It's going to be bittersweet. I'm working to try to get a couple of guests on with me and Bobak. to talk about it with us. And if not, who cares? Me and Bobak do just fine on our own.
Yeah.
But if we can make it a thing. But I'm looking forward to next week, man. I think they said it's an hour and 16 minutes. So that's a nice length for an episode. So
I like it.
Yeah. So we'll leave you guys with this, and everybody have a great night.